Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so today we have Shloka 8.21 of Sri Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Avyakto akshara iti yuktas tam ahu paramam gatim yam 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 prapya na nivartante tad dhama paramam. Translation: that which the Vedantas describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. So, here Lord Krishna is giving detail about a state, about the spiritual abode, and what state one has to attain to reach that supreme abode. Okay, so let's see what detail Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada has given for this. So here, avyaktam means which is not manifested. Spiritual world, avyakta, which at the present moment is not manifested before us. So this material world is manifested, but the spiritual world is not manifested before us at this present moment. And aksharam means which has no annihilation. It does not annihilate, so it is eternal. So although the spiritual world is not manifested before us, that creation, that part of this creation is eternal, aksharam. So Srila Prabhupada says that there are 6 kind of changes of the material form. Shadvikara. In Sanskrit it is known as Shadvikara. And there are 6 kinds of changes of the material form. So now, because we have taken this material body in this material world of 3 gunas, Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun, we go through these 6 kind of changes, anything material. So everything is born. So in the material world we experience this certain phenomenon. Everything is born, it stays for some times, it develops, it gives some byproducts, and then it dwindles and then vanishes. So if you observe nature, you will see that everything material will go through these stages. Whether it is humans, animals, or plants, you will see that they go through these 6 changes, Shadvikara. This spiritual world is Avyakta, which at the present moment is not manifested before us. And this spiritual world is also Aksharam. It does not annihilate. It is eternal. So we have to have this spiritual vision, spiritual senses, which at the present moment we don't. So okay. Because we have now taken this material body, we are covered by this material dress or material senses. Therefore, the spiritual world or anything spiritual, it is not conceivable to our material senses. To experience spiritual, we have to have spiritual senses otherwise. And although we are fully in ignorance of the spiritual matter, but we can still feel that there is something spiritual. Simply, Srila Prabhupada gives an example. Simply, if we analyze, we ask, what am I? Am I this finger? Am I this body? Am I this hair? One will come to deny, no, I'm not all or any of these. So beyond this body, what is, that is spiritual. And that is something we can feel. Although our spiritual senses are covered and we are now using this material body, material senses, we can still feel. Srila Prabhupada gives detail with more examples how this is possible. Similarly, as we cannot find ourselves within this matter, but we can distinguish that I am here. This distinction between dead body and living body. Living body minus something is dead body. That something is spirit. So we can determine that although at the present moment we don't have spiritual eyes to see the spiritual soul, but we can know that the spirit is there. This we can experience, this we can realize, come to realize by analyzing all this. So in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned, Ani avinashi tu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 2.17. Know that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy this imperishable soul. That spiritual existence is eternal, whereas this material body is not eternal. Now here it is said that avyakta aksharam. So what is this avyakta aksharam? Right? This avyakta aksharam, that spiritual atmosphere is non-manifested to our material senses, because we have this material body. But how can be manifested? Yes, it can be manifested, and that is Krishna consciousness, which is what is being preached. In the Vedic literature, it is said that Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahayam indriye Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 70.136. So therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name. Form, holy name, form, qualities, pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified. So here we get the formula for purifying the tongue, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Indriya means the senses. We perceive or we get knowledge through the instruments of different senses. We have these 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses, total 10 senses, plus there is mind above this, and the 10 senses are being conducted by the mind. So Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahayam indriye. So here now, because Krishna is complete spirit and is absolute, therefore his name is also spirit. His name, his form, his quality, that is his opulence, his paraphernalia, everything is spiritual. So on a spiritual platform, everything related to Krishna is absolute and spiritual. It is pure, perfect. It is never separated from him and not different from him. It is absolute. That is the meaning of it. It is of the same nature. So his senses, his body, his name, everything is spiritual. There is no difference. Krishna is the complete whole. He is the absolute truth, and it is never separated from him, and it is perfect. But at the present moment, due to our material bondage or condition, we cannot understand what is spiritual. So what about removing this ignorance? But this ignorance can be removed by the process of chanting Hare Krishna. And how is it possible? Srila Prabhupada gives an example. Just like when a man is sleeping, he can be awakened by the vibration of sound, by the sound vibration. So, for example, you can call that person's name and say that it is time to get up. And the person, he will be able to hear, experience that vibration of sound, and he will acknowledge and come to his conscious state. So although he is now practically unconscious, he cannot see, still, because he's sleeping, still that hearing process is so prominent that a sleeping man can be awakened by the vibration of sound. Similarly, although the spirit soul or spiritual consciousness at the present moment is overpowered by this material bondage or material conditioning, and we have this material senses overpowering us, that spiritual consciousness can be revived by this transcendental vibration, and which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this we can find throughout our Vedic literature, especially with the with the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Sri Krishna himself. So he has given this easy passage that in Kali Yuga we can practice this. So although we cannot perceive the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, his name, his forms, simply by, so Prabhupada says that simply by speculating that what is the name of God, he cannot understand what is the name of God. One cannot understand that. simply by speculation. Speculation is not the process when it comes to understanding Vedic literature, scriptures. Simply by speculating what is the form of God, it is not possible to understand. But as soon as you become situated in Krishna consciousness, Sevan Mukhe hi Jivadau Swayam Eva Spurati Adaha. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. It is mentioned that no one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by the transcendental service to the Lord, that are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to that person, revealed to him. So if one, Prabhupada says that if one engages himself or herself in the Krishna consciousness, then gradually God will reveal himself before that person. But you cannot see God by your own endeavor, by your own concocted processes. So speculation is definitely not the process. One should not speculate about Guru. One should not speculate about scriptures. One should not speculate about Lord. Lord doesn't like that. It is not a process. So one has to take shelter of a Guru, understand or hear Hari Katha, chant the holy name, do what the process as is mentioned in the scriptures. Then one will come to this realize and purify himself or his senses and realize the he realize his name, form, qualities, pastimes, etc. But if you qualify yourself, God will reveal. Srila Prabhupada says God will reveal himself and you will see him. This is the process. So, one cannot order God like that. Otherwise, you cannot simply order God, come before me. That is not the process. One has to do the requisite purification process as mentioned in the scriptures, as mentioned by the Guru, as mentioned in the Hari Katha, etc. So one can come to this realization. So one has to do it in such a way that Lord will be pleased to reveal himself before that person, before you, and you will see him fully. So here it is said, Avyaktakshara. The transcendental there is because it is spoken in the Bhagavad-gītā, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is himself speaking, revealing this truth. There is no cause of doubting. One should not doubt. One should not speculate. The one only thing is how to feel it. So how to understand it. That understanding will gradually be developed, and the truth will be revealed to you if you go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. And this is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And this is the simple process. So don't have doubt about this. It is mentioned in the scriptures. It is mentioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is mentioned that Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. It is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Sri Krishna. He is Sri Krishna himself with the complexion and bhava of Srimati Radharani, with the mood of Srimati Radharani. He is a perfect devotee and he is a perfect disciple. He is teaching us by being the perfect role model of a devotee, of being a perfect devotee, disciple, and a perfect guru. So he has preached this, and one has to strictly follow what he has mentioned. Then one come to, but just practice this process, and one will come to realize the truth will be revealed. Absolute truth will be revealed. So Prabhupada says that even children can take to this simple process. Even children of 6 months, he's mentioned that even child of 6 months has taken part in this, and they have seen the results. So there is no necessity of preliminary qualification for understanding, because it is from the spiritual platform, as mentioned, that on the spiritual platform, everything is absolute, eternal, and non-different from Krishna's form, name, fame, form, pastimes, leelas, etc. So this is a simple process. By the simple process, it will reveal that what is the spiritual kingdom, what is God, what we or Jiva are, and what is this material world, and why we are conditioned, what is the remedy, what is the solution, what is the process. Everything will be revealed. Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela 20.12, it is mentioned that let there be all victory for the chanting the holy name of the Lord, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of this blazing fire of material existence. The chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. So in different yuga there might be different process, but in Kali Yuga this is the simple process, because it is Kali Yuga is it is a very deteriorated condition where we are to a very large extent very material. Our senses are very material. So this is the easy process um, for this yuga. So avyakta akshara iti yuktaha, in the Vedic literature it is said that the spiritual world and the spirit, everything is non-manifested, but still there is eternal. And we have to see through the books of knowledge, scriptures. We have to believe, have faith, and it will be revealed. And if we practice, if we follow. So um, so why have faith? Why one should have faith? Because it is a company, because it is a company which is authorized, which is recognized. Therefore, we are creating faith. We have faith. So faith is prerequisite. It is the first step. So we have to have faith to reach this spiritual understanding. Without faith, we cannot go forward in ordinary life. So we have to have faith. And what is this faith? Belief and faith should be in authorized place. That is the process. Faith we must have. Faith we cannot make progress without faith. So Prabhupada says it's not about blind faith. We have to accept something which is recognized. And the scriptures, such as Bhagavad-gītā, it is 100% recognized. It is delivered by the Lord Himself. And there are many other scriptures like Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and very other supporting scriptures or translations or explanations by our Goswamis. So they help ease and they help us easily understand the scriptures. So we have to believe this, and there is a spiritual atmosphere, that there is a spiritual kingdom. Yam prapya nanivartante. So if someone or other if somehow or other one can reach that spiritual atmosphere, it says here in the shloka that the result is that na nivartante. You will no longer be taking this material body. Tad dhama paramam mam. So you will become quietly and happily situated in eternal life. Now, suppose if you are placed in some country and understand that there is in that country, Prabhupada gives this example that if there is such a place in a country, and if you are placed in the country where there is no disease, there is no misery, there is no old age, there is no death, then and you will be happy, and you are transferred to that country where all such things are available, and so your heart's desire would be that I want that, right? Because we have got the right to have that prerogative. We are eternal, we are blissful, we are full of knowledge. So once we get to know about the spiritual world, spiritual nature, and spiritual process, how we can acquire that, how we can be in that place, then we can be free from these miseries. Because at the present moment we are covered by this material entanglement. We have forgotten our real nature, ourselves, which is spiritual. But by practicing Krishna consciousness, we have a chance to take advantage and revive our original status of life. Prabhupada gives an example. At that time also it was very much in news, and at the present also there is news, such news that we come across that there are so many countries or governments or maybe some organizations who are trying to reach other planets like Moon, Mars, etc., and colonize them. So Prabhupada says that by that achievement, if one thinks that humans will become happy by transferring themselves to that other material planet, then one must inquire and know that it is useless. Because if one really develops or has any spiritual sense, then he will at once seize all these material nonsensical enjoyment endeavors. And that is the symptom of any idea of spirituality. Bhakti paresha anubhava viraktir anyatra syat. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:42, it is mentioned, devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the same way this is the comparison, that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. And what is the result? So if you have developed your Krishna consciousness, devotional spirit, spiritual realization, the result is that you will at once be detached from all these kinds of material enjoyment. So how is it possible? The example is given that just like a hungry man, if he is given nice food stuff, and as soon as he eats and feels satisfaction, he says, "No, I don't want any more. I'm satisfied." So Amin Kartarto Asmi Varam Na Yache Chaitanya Madhya Leela 22.42. When he was being blessed, this is an example of Sri Dhruva Maharaja, being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruva Maharaja said, "Oh my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now that I've gotten you, you are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly persons, and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead I found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you." So this is the how we can say that this is the result. If you take to Krishna consciousness, and it's a progressive in nature, and as it develops, as you further progress, advance, this is what will happen. This is what is expected. You will not dislike, or you will have no taste for material enjoyment, and you can check your progress. And these are the symptoms mentioned, symptoms of ideal of spirituality, and so, as mentioned, improving our material condition, like mentioned, countries and governments trying to reach other planetary systems in this material world, material universe, like Moon, Mars, etc. This is not a solution, because our material miseries, material sufferings, which we mentioned earlier, the Shadvikara, they will continue to be there, maybe at a different level, maybe in a different state, but they will continue to be there. So Krishna consciousness is the solution. And as mentioned in this shloka in the very beginning, that that which the Vedantas describe the unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which having attained it, one never returns. And that is my supreme abode. So once, uh, although at the present moment, because of our material senses, uh, we we cannot see this spirit abode, spirit supreme abode. We cannot come to realize it, because we have taken this material body, material senses. But if we were able to purify ourselves, and it is a guarantee, as mentioned in the scripture, Lord Krishna is giving him a guarantee that my supreme abode, once having attained it, one never returns. At the present moment, it is unmanifest, um, but it is eternal. One must know, and as Prabhupada gives an example, although we are not able to see, because our spiritual senses are covered, but we can still feel it, come to realize, as we take to Krishna consciousness and practice it, that such possibility is there. There is something spiritual. There is spiritual abode, and this is the spiritual nature, who we are, and that we can do by acquiring spiritual knowledge from a reliable, authentic sources such as scriptures, um, um, which is perfect. Scriptures are perfect because these are eternal, without any fault. These are not man-made. These eternally existed. So there is a guarantee in that. And the process is also mentioned, as just explained. One has to take to Krishna consciousness, and one can simply in Kali Yuga, one can do this by the sound vibration of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One can purify himself and come to realize the Nam Gun Roop Leela of Lord Krishna. So why miss the chance? As the Kali Yuga progresses further, it deteriorates, the conditioning increases. So simply start this right now. And the good thing is, if you have a guru, or else inquire from seniors and take shelter of a guru, and then hear his Hari Katha from his mouth, and that will purify us. So Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji, thanks for joining. Please continue to join. And if anybody has any question, please ask before we log off. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.